The months following Pearl Harbor were tough for America. Much of the Pacific Fleet had been sunk and Japan was on the move. But 70 years ago today, 80 Americans who became known as Doolittle's Raiders did the impossible and helped turn the tide. Nancy Cordes spent some time with 4 of the 5 surviving raiders.
20 vintage B-25 bombers flew in formation over Dayton, Ohio today to honor these 4 men and the feat they pulled off in their own B-25s back in 1942.
Of course, the reason that we got away with it was the surprise element.
92-year-old Edward Saylor was 22 when he volunteered for a mission with a secret destination led by the dashing aviator Jimmy Doolittle.
I thought we'd wind up out in the Pacific in the jungle on a short runway.
Thank you, sir.
Richard Cole was Doolittle's co-pilot. At 26, he was one of the oldest members of the squadron.
I think it was about 2 days at sea when the PA system came on and said, this force is bound for Tokyo.
The plan was audacious. 16 B-25 bombers, designed to take off from much longer runways, would be launched from the deck of an aircraft carrier, bomb targets in 5 Japanese cities, and then land at Allied airfields in China because they were too large to land back on the carrier.
3 times I had to bail out of those planes.
95-year-old Tom Griffin was the navigator for crew number 9.
These are fully loaded bombers taken off for the first time in a combat situation, and you had to go straight off of that deck.
But they were spotted by a Japanese ship, so the attack was launched a day early, much farther from Japan than planned.
We had to use the worst case scenario. Take off in the daytime, bomb in the daytime, and not have enough gas to get to China.
So did you think this was a suicide mission, essentially?
No, I expected to be shot down.
Doolittle's crews hit their targets and evaded enemy fire, but they knew those Chinese airfields were out of reach. 90-year-old David Thatcher's plane crashed in the China Sea.
We hit the water with the wheel down, and immediately it turned us over. I was in the back and knocked unconscious for a while.
All 16 crews either crash-landed or bailed out. 11 airmen were killed or taken prisoner. Doolittle thought he would be court-martialed. But when word of their bravery reached America, the raiders became heroes for proving that Japan was vulnerable to attack.
They say we changed the course of the war in the Pacific. That makes sense. We probably did.
It was the gamble he and the others took 70 years ago that first gave America hope in the dark days after Pearl Harbor. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, Dayton, Ohio.